Hey everybody, Andy here with Mossy Creek Fly Fishing. Today is Monday, July 17th. I'm bringing you the fishing forecast this week. Behind me here is our mobile fly shop, and I wanted to take a quick minute here at the start of this to remind everybody that we will be at Parkway Brewing in Salem, Virginia coming this weekend. So Saturday the 22nd we'll be there, and we'll be bringing the fly truck with us. We've got lots of goodies in there, and we're basically bringing a little bit of the shop to you guys. So we hope to see you out there. We're going to be teaching fly fishing. So if you've got some friends who you've been trying to get into fly fishing for a long time, this is a great event to bring them out and have them learn for free. And come hang out, and we'd love to see you there. Now, as far as the fishing goes this week, we are looking at a definite summer pattern now. We are finally really settled into this. We've got, warm temps every day. Our water levels, when we don't have rain, will drop rapidly. But we're in pretty good shape right now. So as we look forward into this week, at the start of the week here right now, we have pretty good water levels in most of our mountain streams. We looked at gauges before this, and everything from park streams to George Washington National Forest streams are in good fishable shape. You've got flows that benefited from the rains this last week, and we're starting off the week with good levels, but we're going to see those fall throughout the week. So early might be a good time to get out on a lot of those brook trout streams. Just talked to somebody here in the shop who was fishing on some of our George Washington National Forest water. Took afternoon water temps in the mid-60s, so that's great to see for an afternoon water temp. Colder than that in the mornings, I'm sure. And 66, you can really get out and find fish active, again, especially in a lot of this moving water. Now, a lot of what we've been saying is going to remain true, so hopefully we don't sound too much like a broken record yet. But when you're fishing these mountain streams, again, just as a reminder, look for some of that more moving water, and you're going to find some of your better fishing in that area. And then as far as flies to fish, looking at terrestrial patterns, the guy I talked to today had done very well fishing ants up in the mountains. High-vis flying ant in particular was a killer. And you could really probably take just about any one of your favorite attractor dry fly patterns and do well up there. And then again, if that water's up, you can drop a nymph down below and catch some fish on those as well. Now down on our valley streams, again, more of the same. Terrestrial fishing is great. Beetles are out, grasshoppers are out, ants are out. One thing to look for in the morning on our spring creeks, Mossy and beaver in particular, is going to be your trico hatch. Really tiny little bug, but sometimes it's fun to target big fish on little tiny flies. So if that's something that suits your fancy, definitely get out early morning on some of these spring creeks and look for those big fish rise into those little tiny bugs. Water levels on our spring creeks are good. We have really fluctuated up and down throughout the weeks following storms. When we get a good storm, we'll have cloudy water for a day, maybe two, and then we're back to pretty clear. So starting out this week, again, we did get a little bit of rain towards the end of the last week, but we should have pretty good water levels, fairly clear water to start out. We are watching a couple of storms midweek. I think Wednesday in particular, we've got a little bit of a chance, but really nothing major in the forecast right now. And then as far as other trout options, your tailwaters are good options. Keep an eye on some of those future forecasts for their water levels. Get online and look at some of your Army Corps of Engineer pages and see what they're predicting for future flows. This time of year, you've got places like the Jackson doing their pulse releases. You definitely don't want to be there on a day when that's happening. I will tell you that I looked earlier, and that is going to be happening this week. I believe that is Wednesday. Double check me on that, though, if you're getting out. But I believe Wednesday they are forecasting a pulse release out there. And if you go over the mountains into West Virginia, some of their tailwaters, same deal. Just keep an eye on that stuff so you don't show up to surprise flooded water. And then, as far as our smallmouth stuff goes, our smallmouth rivers did get a little bit more of a bump in water level from the rains this last week, and so we're starting off the week with those a little bit high, but those are going to fall throughout the week. And the Shenandoah is fishable right now. It is sitting around 750 CFS and on the fall, coming back down towards average flow. We've got folks out today dodging some of the dirtier water and doing very well, and that we expect to continue. Like I was saying not too long ago, our our smallmouth season is really in peak right now. So we've got fish spread all through the river. You can catch them on topwater, you can catch them on baitfish patterns, you can catch them on crayfish patterns on the bottom. What I would recommend to y'all is sort of change throughout the day. Look at what you're seeing in front of you, what you're fishing to, and pick your fly that best suits that situation. So that means when you're in some of these deeper holes, you might want to put on a crayfish pattern, fish major ledges, fish structure, things like that, get down deep. And then when you're in more moving water, or let's say you're in shallower water, your baitfish patterns and your topwater patterns are going to be a great way to go. You can fish those baitfish like a murtich minnow over top of all these shallow ledges, and you'll have fish coming out of nowhere and chasing that thing down. We had some reports last week of 5 fish every cast chasing and racing each other for these murtich minnows. We've had fish just jumping out of the water, eating damselflies, and even hitting baitfish patterns the second they touch the water surface. So if you're seeing that, obviously that's a good indication to you. Put on a topwater pattern and maybe hit the banks a little bit harder through some of that water. We're starting to hear some cicadas out too. It's always a good indication of good topwater fishing. So when the water levels are right, definitely keep some of those topwater flies readily available and keep an eye on for that. Another thing you can look for this time of year is carp. We've got a lot of carp in the South Fork of the Shenandoah and a lot of our major smallmouth rivers. So, if you're floating, water's clear, you want to spice things up a little bit midday, you can look for some of those shallower flats, look for carp mudding, and we love to use crayfish patterns for that. We've got some carp flies here in the shop as well, but definitely a good way to challenge yourself when you're out there on the smallmouth rivers. If you've caught 100 smallmouth in a day, take a couple shots at the carp and humble yourself again. And that's going to be it really for this week's report. So nothing really on muskie. We're leaving them alone. But hopefully everyone has a chance to get out this week and enjoy themselves. And we'll be back with you next week to give you another report. And again, we'll see you hopefully this weekend with the mobile fly shop. So hope to see everybody there. Thanks for tuning in.